Today I'm going to give you guys a tour of my vocal booth. It is part 3 of the official studio tour, and so let's get into this video and let me show you this vocal booth.
True Sound Studios is in your ears.
Okay guys, so let's get right into this video. So if you guys are keeping up with True Sound Studios, I'm moving. I sold my house, I sold my studio. I'm getting out of here. I actually have 2 more days of sessions and the studio officially closes. So I thought before it closes up, I might as well give you the last tour, which is of the live space, the vocal booth, whatever you want to call it. So typically I do track vocals in there. That's pretty much like the main purpose of that room. But me being a drummer, I also track drums in there and obviously guitar and whatever else you need to. It is a smaller room, but anyways, let's go ahead and check out the vocal booth. Okay, so you can see we walk through here, and this is the storage room, which I already gave you guys a tour on. And I'll include a link to that if you guys want to see. But we're going to go ahead and close this door. This is a double thick door, so it's 2 doors put together. And in here is the vocal booth. So I know I'm calling it a vocal booth, but I really do, I track everything in here, but it's just more predominantly, I pretty much track the most vocals is really kind of the purpose of this room. It is big enough to go ahead and track drums, and right over here is generally where I track drums. We put the drums here facing the wall, so obviously it is a very small space, but it is big enough to track, to have a full drum kit there. This is kind of like the guitar cabinet area, so we put guitar cabinets over here, and then in the opposite corner is like the vocal area, so pretty much do vocals over here. This is the main microphone and the main vocal area. This is typically where vocals are done, but not always. There's always different things that happen. So let's go ahead and start off with the door here. So this door, as you can see here, has these wood slats on it, which act as kind of like an acoustic diffuser to help break up the sound and not just absorb everything. Obviously we got the green on the one side. So this is 1/2-inch plywood with a 2x3 in the middle, and then it has the rocks all in there. So it kind of acts like an acoustic diffuser, a door, and an absorber. So all of these walls, all the way around, if it is the color black or white like the ceiling, it is all absorptive. So it is meant to absorb as much as it can. Obviously in this small space, it's typically better to absorb a little bit more than reflect. The floor, I actually recently added this carpet here because when I was tracking drums, it was still a little bright. It was a little brighter than I would have wanted, and that is because of this floor. This floor is 3/4 inch rubber flooring, which is the main floor in here. And the whole vocal booth is the room inside of a room design. There's a train I may have talked about in previous videos that comes by, and if you're tracking super quiet acoustic guitar, you don't want to hear anything. And the second door is right here. So this is a much bigger door. This is 36 inches. It's actually even thicker. And at one point I'll go ahead and open this up, and you'll see you open this door and you actually have to go out through another door to get outside. You got to have a safety exit. Got to have 2 ways in and out to be legal. Okay guys, so I'm just going to show you this room inside of a room from like the outside, because you could actually go outside right through this door. The only little slightly annoying thing is, I don't use this door. But the only slightly annoying thing is, because I put this carpet down after I built the room, you do have to pull the carpet out of the way. And then so what you do is you just unlatch these little things. I already unlatched that one, and then unlatch that, and you can hear the whole seal kind of like pull apart there. And you can see how thick this door is. So this is 3/4 inch plywood. This is a full 2x4, so a 3.5 inch stud. And once again, this is like a big acoustic panel and a soundproofing. And then you can see back there, this is another set of doors. And as a security thing, which I'm okay with revealing now, if you pull some more of these locks out, we take this big 2x4 out of here, because even if you cut all the hinges off, you still couldn't get out of here. Unlock this. Hasn't been open in a while. And then there you go. That's the outside world. And I'll show you this real quick. I have a little temperature gauge in here just to make sure that it's not too warm, too cold, mainly for the clients. So let's talk about the room design. So, something really important is you want to make sure you don't have any parallel surfaces. So if we look at the layout of the floor down here, you can see all these walls are all at different angles, which makes it very difficult to build, but it also makes for a great space because no parallel surfaces means no reflections. Well, at least you cut down on the reflections, and those reflections are obviously reduced by not bouncing off of a parallel surface back and forth, which obviously would make this room not sound very good. It's supposed to be controlled. Now, I talk about all these walls being absorptive, and it's still only 3-inch Roxol. It's about 3 inches. And that's what I did all these walls with, except when it came to the bass traps in the corner. So there's a bass trap in this corner. There's one in this corner. There's one there. And there's one there. Now the bass traps are kind of made of a whole bunch of different materials, and it was a way to try to absorb the amount of low end in this room, even though it's 9 by 9. So it's about 9 feet wide, it's about 9 feet long, and it's pretty close to 9 feet high. And that's obviously at the tallest point. The bass trapping in a really small room like this, I mean, it's kind of unrealistic to think you really could trap too much bass. So I used a big different combination of materials to try to trap the low end in the corners of the room, or at least try to reduce them down as much as I could by using. So I used R36, like your pink standard fiberglass insulation. I used Roxol at the very bottom, and then I used, it's kind of like a corrugated cardboard type of dampening. I forget what it's called. If I do remember, I will put it in the link in the description. And I also use compressed fiberglass. So the bass traps I was just kind of playing around, just hoping that it would kind of work out. And it's pretty good. I mean, like I said, it's a small room. It's tough to really control bass in here anyways. So, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the acoustic diffusion we have going on. So all the natural wood you see, that is all 1x2 pine. And that is to try to give this room a little bit of life, because there's so much absorption going on in here that you also don't just want to make this room too dead, because you can over absorb anything in a room. Any room can have too much absorption in it. By adding the wood, the lumber, you start to add a little bit more life into the room. Now that not like there's any life in here, but at least it makes it a little less dead. And also on the other side of the fabric is, like I said, is the Roxol, and behind that is 2 layers. There's drywall and wood. So those 2 layers kind of make up the mass that is supposed to do the soundproofing. So soundproofing is stopping the sound that's in this space. So if I had a drum kit in here and it'd be really loud, from leaving this and disturbing my neighbors, or vice versa, that loud train I was talking to you about, getting into this room and then picking up in the microphone and then, making a bad recording. I mean, I do this full time. This is my full time job. I can't have a train or a dog barking in a recording session that somebody's paying for. So yeah, so that is, that is a quick breakdown of the room. Dimension wise, I'm not going to go ahead and measure everything. If you want, I can just really quickly call out kind of the width of everything. So this door is 30 inches. This little space here is about 10. This first wall from here to here is just under 3 feet. This looks about 10 inches. This is a 14-inch bass trap. This wall is 26 inches. This one is 36. And this one is 26 with another 14-inch bass trap. And then this long wall is 8 feet long. And then we got another 14-inch bass trap. This is, I think it was 42 inches or 48. It's one of the two. And then this bass trap is a little weird because there's actually an air conditioning unit behind here. So this one is actually 18 inches, that bass trap. And up here, up top, you can see that is one 4-inch vent. And then down there, that's another 4-inch vent. So the air conditioning unit is actually behind this wall. It is running through a series of what is called baffle boxes. So a baffle box is essentially a box where air flows in, and it's kind of like a snake design, where the air can flow, but it has to flow through all these chambers, and you line it with acoustic foam, and it eventually deadens the sound, and then only the air passes through. So I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it too well, but I'm going to go ahead and turn on the AC. I'm going to put it on full cool, and let's see if you can hear it. Let me close this. It is, you can't hear it. It doesn't make any noise. And that's what's really nice about it. So I'm in Buffalo. This is where the studio is. It's mostly cold here. So the AC unit isn't as big of a deal. I probably only run that maybe 3 months out of the year. The rest of the time it's being heated in here. That's like the air conditioning part of it. And then I use an infrared heater to separately heat in here so that the client can adjust the temperature that they want. For lighting, obviously, I think you guys probably know by now, I really like lighting. I really think it helps change the mood, and the clients really love to come in here and use these little remotes to change all the colors on the lights. People really like to do that. So if it makes my clients feel a little better and, have them record better, then it's worth it to me. So let's go ahead and play around with these lights a little bit. So these are the white LED lights that are towards the top of the ceiling, and that obviously changes the mood quite a bit. And then what we can do is there's a spotlight here and up here, and there's a switch over here. If I turn that off, you can see now we are all LED lit. So there's 16 color LEDs on the floor, 16 color LEDs up top, and then these like separate bulb LEDs that you can change color. And then you can even go down a little further and shut off those and just have the floor on and just these few lights, and just like really set a really cool vibe in here depending on what the client wants. And then you can do the opposite and turn off the bulbs. So obviously lighting in here is really important. You really help make the client feel like they have control over the mood of the room, and if that makes them feel better to play a better acoustic guitar or sing better or rap better, whatever it is, it really seems like it works out really cool, especially having the 16 color LEDs. I would say the clients spend at least the first 3 to 4 minutes playing around changing the color of the lights so they get something that they like. So, okay, so a couple other really cool things. So when you're singing here, a lot of clients, not a lot, some people, especially people who are new to singing or rapping, they might start like wandering away from the microphone, and then they're over here, and then they're back here because they're waiting, and then they run up. I felt like I needed to have some way to make sure that they're in a good spot, they're not moving around too much. So what I did was I put a camera right up there. So that camera looks down exactly like pretty much right here, so that I can actually see where their face is compared to the pop filter and then the microphone. And then that microphone feed obviously runs out into the control room where I can see them and make sure that they are in the spot where they're supposed to be. And like I said, not moving around too much. I feel like that is really important because who knows, maybe you thought you didn't set your compressor very well. Turns out the person just can't stay in front of the microphone. Then you can kind of, yell at them if you want. Okay, so I talked about the microphone. This is a Sterling Audio Ocean Way edition, and this is the Sterling Audio Ocean Way edition, and this is the ST6050. It's going to be kind of hard to see that, but this is pretty much the main mic. It sounds really amazing. It was supposed to emulate some sort of Neumann U47 or 87 or something. I wouldn't say it sounds like that, but so this is pretty much the standard vocal place. As you can see up here, this microphone mount actually pivots so that you can pivot it into the wall just to get out of the way, because this room is really small. That, I don't want anybody hitting that nice microphone. Yeah, that's the mic, and it's just a really simple, see if you can see that, articulation mount. This is like a heavy steel post on a piece of wood with a boom arm, adapter, I guess you would call it, down to 2 telescoping pieces so that you can move this thing up and down, obviously based on whoever's in here singing. And then if we take a look right down here, so this is actually, this is what I use for headphone monitoring. And yes, it is a DJ mixer. But what I really like about it is, you have gain control, so the client can set how much level they want. They can adjust the bass, treble, and mid, which is kind of nice. And then this is kind of just like a big overall volume changer. And I think it's kind of nice. The client, it kind of fit right in between my little stand here. And the client is able to adjust things. And then there's the headphone amplifier that's built into here is very loud, which is another reason why I like it, because it doesn't really distort the headphones too much. So these are old, but these are the MDR 7506 headphones, these Sonys, and I've been using these for quite a long time. Just buy new ear cushions when they start to go bad. Got a little cup holder, obviously to put drinks in. The remote to control the lights.
No. No!
And the no button, which is definitely something that entertains the clients. And then, obviously, no vocal area would be complete without something to put lyrics on. And I put a whole bunch of fabric over it so that it kind of, without this is just a big piece of metal that acts like a big reflective surface. So by putting some fabric on here, we kind of dampen this a little bit. And I got a little light, little LED light, that if they want all the lights off in here, they can at least read their lyrics if they want. If it's not on their phone, not every client actually, uses their phone for lyrics. Some people do print them. So, and then up here, if clients want to film themselves, this is a little mount that we can put a cell phone adapter on here, and then they can film themselves, for social media. So that's just another little thing. And then in the back here, to kind of switch things up, this is like, the other part of the room. Like I said before, where we do drums, and I always have a guitar cabinet set up in here. So if we look at this, this is a 2x12 cab. It's got a vintage 30 in there, and greenback, I believe, is in there right now. And it's got a couple mics in here. We were just literally tracking guitar a couple days ago. Audix i5 and a Shure SM57. on this guitar cab. And as you can see, the guitar cable runs from the cab and then to my patch bay. So this is my patch bay. This is where literally everything comes and goes from this little room in here. So all these are pretty much just for drums. These top 12 or whatever it is just for drums. And then we get down to kind of vocals and acoustic guitar and stuff like that. Got a patch bay for these speaker connections, so you can patch in either the ISO cab or the amp lines that run from inside of the control room into here. There's also a 1/4-inch line, so if we need to run something direct or just get an emulated line out or something, we can do that. So nothing too special. You can see a lot of these are different. They've broken over the years, so they've kind of been replaced as they've gone. And obviously this is all built into the wall. And I actually have a USB cable down here too that runs from the control room, just in case, you never know. So all these RCA connections are for some of the mic movers that I've built. And you can see some of the, I've written on here so I don't forget. And those are the mic movers I showed you in the storage video. And they all plug into here so that they can run out into the control room so I can control them. As you can see, we got some locks on this big 36-inch door. Just really simple, these kind of like sliding things, whatever. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, that is definitely the vocal booth, live room, whatever you want to call this. In the back here, these are some of the other mics that I always have set up, because one of the biggest things that I found is, even though this Sterling Audio is my most expensive, most modified, in my opinion it sounds the best, it doesn't sound great on everybody's voice. Particularly the S's in some of the male vocals. This thing just over accentuates, even if I do the pencil trick. It just is, sometimes it's too much. And even though that is my most expensive microphone, I always have these microphones set up so that we can try out some of the other mics and just see. Not always is that expensive microphone the best one for the vocalist, because they do, a microphone does kind of work off of the person's voice, and one microphone might really might be better. So these are some of the other mics I have. So we got the MXL 4000, and this is really great because it has the different polar patterns on here. So I probably use this mic the most for other things besides vocals, but it does sound similar, not the same, but similar to that Sterling Audio microphone. Definitely really like this mic. I definitely use this quite a bit. This is probably the second most used condenser microphone. Then I have the Rode NT18. Now, this microphone is sometimes even sounds better than that Sterling Audio one. This is for like 220 bucks or whatever it is new. Amazing. I have two of these. And actually the other one is what I use for all the tutorial videos when I do like the how-tos and how to mix and stuff like that. So that's the mic I use for that. Can't go wrong with a classic microphone. Now, sometimes for screaming vocals, for rock, an SM58 to the client sounds better than any of these condenser mics. So always have this set up. I mean, it doesn't generally get used that much, but I do like having it and having it ready set up so it's a little easier. And then finally, the Bluebird. Now, this is one of my older microphones that I have, and this thing really does sound good. It's definitely something to do with the capsule open design, that the way it is, and it's kind of like dome shaped in the back and flat in the front. Definitely like this. This also sounds really good on like acoustic guitar, at least in this room. So I definitely like this. But yeah, so when we have the opportunity and a client isn't completely strapped on time, definitely can try out some of the other microphones. Okay, so in the beginning of the video, I was talking about how I had that double thick door. One door, two doors glued together, it makes one door. And then we have this second door, which is right here. And both of those doors create an airlock in between the control room and the live room, which is why the storage room is in the middle of it. Kind of acts like a nice airlock, and it deadens the sound from the control room and vice versa. So I wanted to show you guys how dead it really is, because it's easy to talk about how soundproof this room is. And let's just quickly talk about soundproof is not hearing the speakers play in the control room in here, and then vice versa. I don't want to hear the person actually singing, rapping, doing whatever in this room. I don't want to hear it through the walls, okay? I should only hear it through the microphones that we're using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some music, and we're going to keep all the doors open. I'm going to close the first door, and I'll close the second door, and you guys will hear how truly soundproofed this room is. Okay, so let me go ahead and set that up, and yeah, we'll take a listen. Okay guys, so I'm going to go play some music. I'm going to close that first door, and then the second door. I promise I am not going to change the volume in post video editing. Okay, I really want you guys just listen to the static. Okay, you'll know if I change the volume of things, because you should be able to hear the difference in the static. So the microphones are, everything's staying the same. So I'm gonna go press play, and then we'll start closing doors. So this is one of my tracks. We'll wait till the chorus hits. So obviously it's much quieter. Not dead. I don't actually even know if I can seriously hear it. And what I did was I looped the choruses too, so that it'd be like a big powerful part the whole time. I do have to say that the subwoofers are not on. I never track in here while the subwoofers are on, because bass is just so much more difficult to manage as far as soundproofing goes. And I can definitely tell you, if the subs were on, you would definitely hear a little bit of rumbling in here. So that's a little, you know, a little reassurance, a little confidence in this whole room inside of a room concept. So like I had said in the very beginning of the video, I am moving. I got 2 days left in the studio until I start. Well, before I take all the gear out of here, the people who bought my house and the studio are actually keeping the studio the way it is. And so yeah, so I just wanted to kind of give you guys a real quick tour of this. But the next vocal booth that I'm going to build, the next live room, is going to be even better soundproofed. And not only will I get to show you guys the final result, I'm going to show you guys how I built it. So look out for those videos. That is coming very soon. To this day, the day I uploaded this, we have about a week or so until we actually need to physically leave this place. And then start on the new studio and the new house, and so I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this was enough information for you guys to see how, you know, this vocal booth was built, and like how it's, you know, how it looks in the inside, and some of the dimensions, so that maybe you guys can build a vocal booth, a live performance space just like this. This sounds really good, especially being on a budget. All right, guys, well, as always, thank you for watching this video. There is over 160 other videos just like this right here on the True Sound Studios YouTube channel. So thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, click that like button and consider subscribing for more content. So not only do I make YouTube videos, but I also produce tracks, and I can mix and master your music. So once again, thank you for watching this video. I'm Weezna, and True Sound Studios is in your ears.